3, 2.
Good afternoon. On May 12th, 2025, two vessels who were reported that left Alamagan about 9:30 in the morning, the Lucky Harvest and Remetal, and their estimated time to arrive in Saipan at 4:30 the same day. 4:30, around that time, the Remetal arrived at the seaplane down at Lower Base, and the other vessel, which the Remetal had not arrived at where the destination they should be meeting. The owner had mentioned that the estimated arrival, based on his speed of the vessel, by 9:30 in the evening that same night. Unfortunate, the next day on May 13, 2025, about 11:30 a.m., the owner of the Remetal, Cecilio, had called the Marine Patrol section and notified that one of his vessels had not arrived and is reported distress and is requesting for assistance. On May 13, the same date, about 2:02 p.m., the Department of Public Safety Marine Patrol section had deployed their personnel, their patrol officers out to the open water in attempt to locate the vessel that is in question. Sometimes last night, that evening, the Marine Patrol personnel had returned back to Saipan after reporting that no sighting of the vessel, and at the same token, the waters were rough. And because the concern for safety of the captain and the crew, they have decided to return back so that way that we can resume early this morning. At the same time, well, at the same date, the HAC 25 helicopter had spotted a flare somewhere west of Tinian, and that he was unable to respond due to the helicopter had experienced low fuel and has to return to put more fuel. Latest that I got, that as of somewhere before 11 p.m. last night, the Coast Guard cutter and the HCC 25 helicopter was still searching the general area where they last saw the flare. No words as to what time they returned back to their headquarters, but they had resumed their search again this morning. Last information I was told that the vessel right now is somewhere west of Tinian, and they did have contact with the vessel, but very due to the issue with the communication, the Lucky Harvest was not really acknowledged because of communication issue. As of this time, Coast Guard and the HAC 25 are still actively searching the general area where they last seen the flare, as well as in attempt to communicate with the Lucky Harvest. On the Lucky Harvest, there's two crew. One is the captain, the other is crew. Unfortunately, we have not had their identity, but we'll look forward to getting their identity. As of right now, that's what we got in regards to this distressed vessel that we're out there still looking for them.
Are the owners of the vessels from Saipan?
The owner of the vessel, yes. The owner owns the two vessels, and that he's out there right now actively participating in searching for that vessel as well.
And do we know what they were transporting? Were they transporting something? Was it?
Yes, yeah. So, if I may, sorry. They were transporting equipments for Fish and Wildlife, who I believe they did a contract with Fish and Wildlife to transport their equipments down to Alamogan for a survey. there were, so the only contents or the cargo that they're carrying, as to what we have been advised of, is equipments that belong to Fish and Wildlife.
And so, who's out there right now? We have the private boat owner, we have the DPS boat,
Right.
U.S. Coast Guard, and U.S. Navy helicopter.
Yes, so operational wise, currently we have the Impact that's out there with 3 personnel, Cecilio and one of his boats, the Coast Guard, and also the Navy.
And can you tell us, 9:30 tonight will be 48 hours since they've been overdue.
Yes.
What do operations look like going into this evening if they're still not located?
So, well, our normal protocol is 72 hours in terms of searching, but it is really dependent on, I would say, evidence or information that we can work with. And in fact, I think one of that is, or let me just go back. There's two. We need to assess. There's 2 things that we can actually work with right now, and one was the flare sighting. The other one was the communication of. I think this was never released, but there was communication from Lockheed vessel Harvest, who was trying to communicate with another boat, which was the Remital. That communication was picked up by the U.S. Coast Guard. Coast Guard tried to get in touch with them at the same time, but somehow they weren't responding to them. But they did pick up that communication. And the third one was just actually about 2 hours ago. We were informed by Cecilio that the U.S. Coast Guard had actually made contact with Lockheed Harvest, but the contact was faint, and then they lost communication again. And this was just about 2 hours ago, about 11:30 this morning.
I know you said it was faint, but did they get to hear a few words, or what was it exactly?
That was not discussed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, here's my question. I'm not a fisherman, but from what I understand, you can survive on a boat outside of Tinian or Saipan for a while. I'm not much longer than 3 days. You can catch fish.
So I think
I'm assuming you're not.
no, the good thing is Lockheed Harvest is well, accordingly that they have enough supply to actually last them at least a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that the search was going to will go on for a month if it needs to, or not a police search, but a private search will continue.
Yeah.
You know,
so, yeah.
right now we're very much concerned about the human safety.
Yeah.
So that is the reason why we're finding we're going beyond our capability to work together with the U.S. Coast Guard as well as the Navy to try and locate this vessel as much as we can. In regards to how long the search is going to go, it all depends again on the weather. Of course, if it's rough sea, I cannot allow my officers to continue out there, knowing that that's one of the safety issues that I have to look at. Or it all depends on what development did they have out there that can convince that would allow me to continue the search. So right now, what Chief Madikop said that we our protocol is 72 hours, and anything after 72 hours, based on any findings, anything that would convince us that they're still out there, I would able to go ahead and authorize to go beyond the 72 hours. But right now, in the collaboration effort of the agencies that are out there in the open water, and to include Homeland Security, we're still actively looking for that vessel, and hopefully that with the latest detail that we got that they had a fainted communication, but hopefully that we were able to locate the vessel and bring in the people back to shore.
Anything else you want the public to know about this? I mean, was there any, outside of the flare and the communication, was there any like distress signal through any devices that they might have on the boat?
right now, because Channel 16 is the only way of communicating, and I don't have the capability that once I step out of his office, only here knows what's been going on. But I rely on my personnel here to keep me informed as to any source of communication between the Coast Guard and the Lucky Harvest. So again, we are constantly constantly and actively pursuing to make sure that we find this vessel. The vessel is described as a
47 footer.
47-footer vessel with just 2 crew. That's.
But it's a fishing vessel.
It could be a fiction vessel. It could be a vessel that transports. It's used for transport, and it could be dual. Could be just for transport.
Okay.
But like what Chief Manikov said, he was contracted by the Fish and Wildlife to bring some over the equipment that's needed
Okay.
for some missions that pertaining to Fish and Wildlife is the reason why they were contracted out.
And do you know? I know they said it was returning from Alamagan. Did it have any plans to go to any of the other islands, or was it heading straight here?
No, we don't have that information.
Okay.
How
Well,
far
according it's supposed to come back straight here. Yeah.
How far is Alamaga?
I know it's further north than FDM and Anatahan.
I'm not too sure.
I think it's the island before you reach Pagan.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that we have now. And of course, like what Chief Manikov said, that's the intent of their trip, is to leave Alamagan and head straight down to Saipan, and probably to continue on with their what they're supposed to do for Fish and Wildlife. Until then, we cannot find out what will really happen until we're able to bring in the crew and kind of ask what really happened out there. We just, our hearts and prayers are sent out to the crew, and hopefully that we were able to rescue them and bring them back to shore, like I said.
All right. Thank you.